Alright, back of page 1. We have a triangle, and we also have a typo. I'm so sorry about that. I'm only human, y'all. So, let's go ahead and correct our typo first and foremost, because this triangle has 3 sides. It has one side measuring 2x, the other side measuring 3x plus 2, and then the last side measuring, let's fix that, and that should be 20 inches. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that out. Actually, I'd like to go ahead and maybe draw out a triangle. For me, the easiest triangle to draw is, well, a right triangle. But it could be any triangle as long as it has 3 sides. As a matter of fact, that doesn't look like a perfect right triangle anyway. So, I have 1, 2, and 3 sides. Okay, so if a triangle has 3 sides measuring 2x, 3x plus 2, and 20, write an expression describing the perimeter. Now, remember, perimeter simply means all around, okay? We're not worrying about area. You're welcome. So, if I'm going to find my perimeter, I take all my sides and add them up. Yeah, that's simple. So, my expression means no equal sign would be 2x plus 3x plus 2 plus 20. Now, your expression can stay here, or you could combine like terms. So I would obviously look for anything with x's, and I would add them up, giving me 5x. And then I have my constants. Now, this would be a very nice and simple expression of my perimeter. Now, I am nice, and on your test, I would accept either this one, which is absolutely correct, or this one that is simplified. So, moving on to part B, it says if the perimeter of a triangle, is, let's take out another highlighter here, 67 inches. What is the value of x? So let's go ahead and take our expression of 5x plus 22 is, well, that's actually just equals 67. And I'm looking for x. So I would probably use page 11. I would check to see, do I need to, part 1, distribute? Nope. No distribution, no parentheses. Part 2, do I have any like terms on this side? Nope. Nope. Okay. So in that case, do I have variables on both sides? No. So in that case, I need to isolate my variable by first removing my constant. Now, I'm talking about the constant on the same side with the variable. So I would remove my 22 by using the inverse operation to eliminate it. So I have 5x is equal to 45. Then I would remove my coefficient. Now, because my coefficient is being multiplied times my variable, that simply means I'm going to use the inverse operation of division. 5 over 5 reduces to 1. So now I am left with x is equal to 9. even more specifically, 9 inches, because this is a word problem. Value of x. Now, what are the numeric lengths of the unknown size? So what I mean by that is, so the lengths of the unknown sides. I'm going to come back over here because I have 2 sides that I do not know because I only have 20, that is a numeric value, but these are unknown. So that means 2x would be equal to 2 times 9. So my first length would be equal to, you know what, let me put in this one where I can see it a little bit more, 18 and then inches because I'm lazy. Okay. Now my second length would be 3x, which we already know is, again, 9 inches. So that would leave me with 3 times 9. Man, we're seeing that a lot today. That's 27, and then plus 2, 27, 28, 29 inches. All right. So we should have 18 plus 29, and then plus 20 gives us our original 67 inches. So these are our 2 missing links, and they do check out. So let's move on to number 9. Evaluate. Oh my goodness. You guys had this on your last test. Evaluate. This is page 18, bottom right-hand corner. So let's go ahead and evaluate. I started off fairly easy, and I said, if you have f of x, and I give you 6x squared plus 4x minus 3, what is f of negative 2? So let's go ahead and rewrite this. Use multiple colors here. There we go. So, f of negative 2 is equal to 6 parentheses squared plus 4 parentheses minus 3. I'm just trying to make my life easier here. And I'm going to substitute negative 2 where all of these x's were. Now, I think the biggest mistake that people were having is you must follow the order of operations. So, order of operations, we have parentheses. Now, what I mean by parentheses is inside the parentheses, followed by E for exponents. Now, these two hold the same weight. We have multiplication and division. So, if you have both multiplication and division, you're going to go from left to right. And lastly, we have addition and subtraction. Okay? So, taking a look here, inside the parentheses. Technically, I've already done this one because I have substituted whatever is inside the parentheses. That's all I need to do. There's nothing else to do to those negative 2's. So that means I can move on to my exponents. Which is right here. Negative 2 times negative 2 gives you positive 4. So I'm going to bring down my 6. This has now become positive 4. I'm just going to bring everything else down. Plus 4 times negative 2 minus 3. Oh, well, times, that's actually multiplication here. So I have multiplication happening right here and right here. So 6 times negative 4 will give me negative 24. And then plus 4 times negative 2, that's going to give me negative 8. And now minus 3. Now, as I'm looking at this, this says negative 24 plus negative 8 minus 3. At this point, I can just go ahead and move from left to right. It truly doesn't matter. But I personally would probably want to separate this since both of these are negative. I could say negative 8 minus 3 would give me negative 11, and negative 24, and then plus negative 11. I don't need that plus sign anymore. So I would say that negative 24 plus 11, what I could actually do, if they have the same negative, it's going to become more negative. So you bring down the negative symbol and simply add. It's going to give me a 5, negative 35. This was probably one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen, is adding up integers. So our final answer here is negative 35. And now that I'm actually looking at this, I said something and I wrote down the wrong thing. I apologize. We did say that negative times a negative is a positive, meaning we would have a positive 24. And you see, I'm only human. I make mistakes. I'm sorry. So in that case, we can just do regular subtraction. So that would be 3, and then 2 minus 1 will give me 1. All right. So, there we go. Our answer is actually positive 13. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next example. We are evaluating f of r. Given that we have, let's use a different color here, r squared, the absolute value of r squared over 2r. Now, if you go back in your notes, let's see exactly which page. Page 9, actually. We had written that absolute value is the distance, the positive distance. A number is from 0, and so that's why if you have a negative answer inside of absolute value bars, you would say that is 2 units away from 0. So let's go ahead and begin. We have f of, well, negative 3. Okay, is equal to the absolute value of negative 3 squared over 2 times negative 3. And then let's close our absolute value bar. Alrighty, so we already dealt with our parentheses. Now let's look for any exponents, which again we have our exponents right here. Okay. Absolute value bar, so negative 3 times negative 3, not going to make the same mistake as a positive 9, over 2 times negative 3. Okay, so we have dealt with our exponents, multiplication and division. Well, what I would do first is my multiplication. on the bottom, because we could do it in any order, if you wanted to divide, you could, but it would make things maybe a little bit more difficult. So, I'm going to rewrite. I have 9 over, now, to be quite honest, maybe it won't be that bad, because we have 2 times negative 1 times 3. Now, 9, we know, is the same as, well, 3 times 3. Okay. And, well, 3 over 3 would reduce to 1. Now, did I have to factor this out? No. I could have simply said that I have 9 over negative 6. Now, this can be reduced, though, because both of these have 3 in common. So if I were to divide by 3, then I would still end up with my same answer of 3 over negative 2 inside of my absolute value bars. Now, because they're inside my absolute value bars, I would say that my final answer is positive 3 over 2 units away from 0. All right, let's move on to part C. Now, part C and D are a little bit more difficult whenever we're evaluating because, well, we have multiple variables. So I'm going to grab some colors here. Orange, why not? Okay. So, I have C and D. Okay. So, let's go ahead and start our substitution, which is our parentheses. I would say negative 9 and parentheses over. So negative 9, I'm replacing my C with 1 and my D with 8. All right. We don't have any exponents this time, but I can move on to my multiplication, which would be, well, right up here. So that should give me negative 9. Now, 1 plus 8 on the bottom would give me another 9. So if I were to break this apart, let's say negative 1 times 9 over 9. My 9 over 9 would, of course, reduce to 1, leaving me with a final answer of negative 1. So let's go ahead and take a look at our last problem on the back side. We have U V and W. So let's go ahead and rewrite. Oof. This one looks a little bit more intense. So I'm going to go ahead and put down my parentheses. Parentheses are key. All right. So I have my U, which is 2. I have my V's. And I have my W's, which are negative 2. Oh my goodness. All right, so let's go ahead. We've done the inside of our parentheses by substituting. Let's move on to exponents. Try to write here just one set. So, rewrite. Here I have 2 times 1 times negative 2 times negative 2, positive 4, and let's say negative 2 minus 1. All right. So let's go ahead and multiply out our numerator. So that's 2 times 4 will give me 8. And then negative 2 minus 1. Now, worst case scenario, if you guys get stuck on these sort of problems, please don't be ashamed. Don't get it wrong. Draw a number line. So if I say that 0's here and then negative 1, negative 2. Now, in order to move or to subtract 1, I would go on over here, and that would give me negative 3. Now, 8 and 3 do not have anything in common, so, well, that's your final answer. And that is the end of the back side of page 1.